Please leave a message after the
Wired reports that the U.S. Department of Justice has settled with Cody Wilson over allegations of violating the International Trade in Arms Regulation. If you remember, Cody Wilson was making plans for a 3D printed gun available online. He took a video of himself shooting a gun that he had 3D printed. In the settlement, the Department of Justice promises to let the Commerce Department regulate the export of firearms below 50 caliber from now on and not police technical data about those weapons. Wilson was making the argument, he's like, I've got a First Amendment right to talk about it. I'm not actually exporting a gun. I'm exporting speech, essentially. Wilson also receives a unique license to publish designs, and his defense-distributed site defcad.com will launch later this month with new weapon designs to be shared by people. Obviously, depending on what side of certain issues you are, you can see this as a great victory for freedom of speech, for Second Amendment rights, or you could see it as a dangerous precedent that allows anyone to print a gun. The one thing I'll say before we start discussing it is printing a gun is a lot harder to make work than you might think, but it's certainly easier than building a gun from scratch.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly summarize in case that went over some of you guys' heads. Don't mean to be patronizing, but basically there's a guy in America who has been making 3D guns for his own personal use, but I think at a certain point he got prosecuted for it. That's why the whatever body was going against him. But now he's on, I think he won a case where he's saying, I'm just selling the ideas, the CADs. 3D printers who just can print out CAD designs. He's making gun CAD designs to make 3D printed guns, and he's now won a case where he can actually promote a website to put out his schematics to make it work. He's made videos where he's shown it can work. So essentially, this is gun technology being made through 3D guns, being made through 3D printers, which is to some people very, 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 very scary, and to some people very, very, very innovative. Again, when we talk about guns and we're British, we're across other side of the pond, it's very hard for us to have an even discussion. So for me, as a technology enthusiast, I think it's cool on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's fucking scary. And I'm like, wow, when you know, it's one of those other technologies that you knew was probably coming, but now seeing it and someone's actually doing it, it's like, this can go sideways if, you know, one of those things in the wrong hands, you know?
It's a very strange story, and there's so many like ramifications. I don't know. It can go in so many different directions. For example, first of all, I don't know if you know this, Jay. Do you know how much is a 3D printer? Like,
they're getting cheaper, man. They're not as expensive as you think. But a really good one could be hundreds, maybe more. I'm not sure. But I've seen there's cheap ones for little things. It's a very big industry. Mass people really, as a hobbyist as well. People just do it for hobbies. They can see what they can make. It's awesome, but it's not as hard as an entry as it used to be. I can tell you that much. But as for the guns, don't know. But like I said, there's a lot of young people that are enthusiasts about building stuff, and just the thought of them being able to do this, and with the internet, just imagine, Daddy, you know, one of these rich kids we spoke about just buys it for hell, and I hate to say it, they got a little side hustle selling illegal 3D printed guns.
Yeah, especially if 3D printers aren't that expensive, like you just mentioned.
I don't think they are. You know? I don't think they're like. I really think they're in the hundreds for something that you could make into a business. I mean, it's an investment. If you spend $2,000 on a 3D printer, and you can help someone get the material, someone just to fund you, and you can make a little business. It's, to be honest with you, other countries can take it. Someone in England can make 3D. It's just, it's cool and it's scary. It's cool and it's scary to me.
It's got this weird futuristic vibe to the story. Like, it sounds like something that governments would do, like mass produce these super militarized guns, basically, for whatever crazy ideas they have, sending it to Saudi Arabians, maybe. I don't know.
Do you actually, funny enough, that last movie, Cloverfield, that one that came on Netflix,
I have not seen it.
I think in space there was a scene where they actually printed out a 3D gun.
Oh, really? Okay. So
in that movie, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like, you know, when 3D printers came out, someone probably thought of this idea, and it's only now that someone's starting to,
of course,
trying to distribute actual designs and whatnot.
Yeah. There was going to be someone. There was
Yeah.
going to be someone eventually. So.
I think it's it's definitely a market. There'll definitely be a market there.
Oh, hell
you know,
yeah.
people designing their like
Free
fantasy
guns.
gun. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can
Yeah.
you design a gun like this and make it look like that and do this? Like,
Video game
it's,
hobbyists.
exactly.
For real. You got
exactly.
it. Yeah.
So it is kind of scary. Obviously, it'll be down to the US and whatever countries that would have this kind of thing. It'll be down to them to make sure that it's regulated and that there's punishments for those who try to get ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just got one thing I do say is that the guy who won the case, he sounds like a real smart aleck. You know, when someone's quite happy with himself.
The way you worded it. I'm just selling my speech.
Exactly.
Come on. What's that? I haven't said
It's
anything.
my Second Amendment rights or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And what was this site called? Does it DEF CON or something?
yeah, he sounds like one of those people that's behind closed doors is very creepy. Like, who knows what kind of stuff he gets into.
I don't want to put that out there, but I can't lie. His whole manner.
So
Like, let me tell you something, man. He's about to become a very rich man.
Exactly.
Just for his schematics. I'm telling you, just the schematics alone and his name out there, he's probably going to be in the history books as well. If he's like a pioneer, it's very cool, but at the same time, again, it's very scary. But I don't know, guys. My American listeners are American listeners, sorry. Could you please let us know what you think about this story in particular? Because again, I feel weird every time we bring up guns.
We just don't have that exposure.
No, and the Europeans were always America and your guns. We don't have guns. We do have gun problems. You know what I mean? It's just not on you guys' level. And could be, you know, I don't want to put this out there. But again, if you hear school shooting, guy's weapon of choice was 3D printed guns, it's just like, it just compounds the issue of them they're already talking about how much issues they have with young people getting access to guns, and now I'm hearing that this guy can just send you schematics and get a 3D printer. It's just
there's definitely a dark market there for 3D printed guns. So.
Yeah, and again, I don't even know if I feel right for putting that information out there, but I think at a certain point
someone else will,
it's going to get out there. I think more people are going to find out about this. But anyway, didn't mean to be so grim about this, but
Please leave another message at voiceofmail.com.